Lana sat at the dining table, her cup of tea growing cold in her hands. The clock on the wall showed it was 10 at night, yet Adrian still hadn't come home. He used to always call if he was going to be late. Now, her phone only beeped with a busy signal every time she tried calling. She tried to calm herself, telling herself that Adrian was probably just busy with work. But something in her gut told her otherwise. Something had changed. The sound of keys jingling in the front door snapped Lana from her thoughts. Adrian entered with light steps, as if nothing was amiss. A faint, unfamiliar scent lingered as he passed her. "You're still awake?" he asked, hanging his coat on the chair. Lana looked at him, searching for the honesty that used to fill his eyes, now empty. "I've been trying to reach you," she said, her voice softer than she intended. He grabbed a bottle of water from the kitchen counter and drank slowly, unhurried. "Busy. A lot of work." His response was short, almost too easy. "Adrian, is there something you need to tell me?" she asked carefully. He scoffed, tossing the empty bottle into the trash. "You're starting again?" Her heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" "You're always suspicious. I come home a little late and you start thinking the worst," he said, his tone growing sharp. Lana bit her lip. Was she the one overreacting? Or was this just Adrian's way of avoiding the real question? Their eyes met briefly before Adrian turned away. "I'm tired, Lana. I'm going to bed," he said, walking toward their bedroom. Lana stood frozen, staring at the back of the man who once gave her the world, but now felt so distant. She wanted to believe, to push the suspicions from her heart, but like leaves slowly wilting, she knew. Their promises were fading. Few days passed in a blur for Lana. Adrian's behavior grew even more distant. He barely spoke to her, often coming home late, and when he did, it was always with a half-hearted excuse that didn't quite make sense. The man she once knew, the man she loved, seemed to be slipping away, like sand through her fingers. Lana tried to ignore the gnawing feeling in her chest, telling herself that it was just her imagination, just the stress of everyday life. But every time she saw him glance at his phone and quickly lock it away, or heard him whispering into the phone late at night, her doubts grew stronger. One evening, as Adrian stepped out for another late-night meeting, Lana couldn't take it any longer. She stood by the door, watching him go, before her gaze shifted to the small, black bag he always carried with him. Without thinking, she reached for the bag. Her heart pounded in her chest as she unzipped it, trembling slightly. The first thing she pulled out was his phone. It was locked, as usual, but she knew the passcode. They'd been together long enough for him to trust her with it. Her hands felt clammy as she unlocked the phone and scrolled through his messages. And there it was. The name that made her stomach twist. Sophia. Sophia? Who was she? Lana's fingers shook as she read through their conversations, their playful exchanges, their inside jokes. They spoke as if they were more than just casual acquaintances. There was affection in every message, in every word. Lana's heart dropped. The weight of betrayal was too much to bear. She quickly shut off the phone and set it back in the bag, her mind racing. How could he do this to her? How long had this been going on? And why hadn't she seen the signs earlier? Lana's thoughts were a whirlwind, but she knew one thing for certain. She couldn't continue living in this lie. She had to confront him. It was the only way to know the truth. When Adrian returned home, Lana didn't wait for him to settle in. She stood in the doorway of their living room, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. Her face was pale, her eyes dark with hurt. "Adrian, we need to talk." He froze in his tracks, a flicker of surprise crossing his features, but just as quickly, he masked it with a smirk. "About what?" Lana didn't waste time. "About Sophia." His face shifted slightly, but he quickly recovered. a nervous chuckle escaping his lips. "What about her?" "Don't lie to me," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, but it held a firmness that surprised even her. "I know about the messages, about what's been going on behind my back." Adrian's eyes widened, but then, as if he had been rehearsing this moment, his expression softened. "Lana, you're misunderstanding." "No," Lana interrupted, her voice rising. "I'm not misunderstanding anything. I saw the texts. I saw how much she means to you." The silence between them was deafening. Adrian opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He looked at her, his eyes shifting uncomfortably. "You're really going to stand there and lie to me?" she asked, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and heartbreak. Adrian exhaled sharply. "Lana, I never meant to hurt you. I've been confused. Things haven't been the same for a while, and Sophia—" "No, don't even try to explain," Lana shouted. "You've been gaslighting me this whole time, making me feel crazy for questioning you, for thinking something was wrong, and now I know the truth." Adrian's expression turned defensive. "You're overreacting. It's not what you think." Lana shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. "It's exactly what I think, and I'm done. I'm done living in your lies." Before Adrian could respond, Lana turned on her heel, grabbing the small suitcase she had packed earlier. The room felt suffocating, the air thick with tension, but Lana couldn't stay one more second. She had to leave, even if it meant walking away from everything she had known. She didn't look back as she stepped out of the door, her heart breaking with every step. But she knew deep down it was the only way to heal. Adrian stood in the living room, frozen, unable to speak. The truth had been laid bare, and no amount of excuses could change what had just happened. And as the door closed behind Lana, a cold silence settled in, and the weight of his actions finally hit him. But it was too late. Lana was gone.